My books that had seemed such a nuisance a while ago, so heavy to carry, my grammar and my history of the saints, were old friends now that I couldn't give up. And M. Hamel too. The idea that he was going away, that I should never see him again, made me forget all about his ruler and how cranky he was. So now this little prince is repenting that he has missed. Now he will be missing his lessons. He'll be missing his grammar book. He'll be missing the lessons of his history book. And he used to always blame or complain that the books were too heavy, and he used to avoid carrying them to schools. Now that would remain as it is in his house only. And now he is means if talk about M. Hamel, he had the notion about M. Hamel that he was a strict teacher, but now he has no such notions. Now he's repenting that he'll be missing M. Hamel's classes, and M. Hamel classes he'll be missing. Poor man, it was in horror. It was in honor of this last lesson that he had put on his fine Sunday clothes. And now I understood why the old men of the village were sitting there in the back of the room. It was because they were sorry too that they had not gone to school more. It was their way of thanking our master for his 40 years of faithful service, and of showing their respect for the country that was theirs no more. So this now he understood. Now this prince is repenting, and he is understanding that why M. Hamel has put on his best attire, his Sunday clothes, because this was his last lesson and he wanted to make it memorable. And the 40 years of service this M. Hamel has given to the school, and all the people of the villages, the seniors, the elders of the village, they have come to attend his class, because throughout their life even they have not attended the schools, and they have come here to honor Mr. Hamel. While I was thinking of all this, I heard my name called. It was my turn to recite. What would I not have given to be able to say that dreadful rule for the participles, all through very loud and clear, and without one mistake. But I got mixed up on the first words, and stood there, holding on to my desk, my heart beating, and not daring to look up. I heard M. Hamel say to me. So that is while I was thinking of all this. So M. Hamel, his name was Mr. Hamel called friends, like he called his name, and he had to recite, and friends has to recite his lesson on participles. But he got all mixed up, and he thought that he would be scolded by Mr. Hamel, but he wasn't being scolded that day. Okay, I won't scold you, little friends. You must feel bad enough. See how it is. Every day we have said to ourselves, "Bah, I have plenty of time. I will learn it tomorrow." And now you see where we have come out. Ah, that's the great trouble with Elsa's. She puts off learning till tomorrow. Those fellows out there will have the right to say to you, "How is it you pretend to be Frenchmen, and yet you can neither speak nor write your own language?" So that is what now Mr. Hamel said, that I will not scold you today. And now you see that now you will see, and you will repent that how much you have neglected your French lessons and coming to school and avoiding studies. Now you will see that the French lessons that you have not learnt even to read and to write, now the language that was all yours will not be anymore yours. But you are not the worst. Poor little friends, we all have a great deal to reproach ourselves with. So he's also adding up, Mr. Hamel is also adding up that, little friends, you're not the only one to be blamed. But we are also blamed to let you in this position. Your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. They preferred to put you to work on a farm or at the mills, so as to have a little more money. And I have been to blame also. Have I not often sent you to water my flowers instead of learning your lessons? And when I wanted to go fishing, did I not just give you a holiday? So not only your parents who wanted you to earn some money, to work in the farm and to work at farm or at mills and earn a little more money, but even I am to be blamed, because I only suspended my classes to go fishing. I suspended my classes to go fishing, and even I engaged you people to water my flowers and to water my garden. So not only your parents, but even I am to be blamed. Then, from one thing to another, M. Hamel went on to talk of the French language, saying that it was the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical, that we must guard it among us and never forget it. Because when a people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. That means if you are in good hold of your language, then you have the key to your prison. Means nobody can bind you, nobody can keep you in captive, because you have hold over your own language. But if you have no hold over your language, then there are chances that you will be prisoner to someone, or you will be in someone's captivity. Then he opened a grammar and read us our lesson. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. All he said seemed so easy, so easy. I think too that I had never listened so carefully, and that he had never explained everything with so much patience. It seemed almost as if the poor man wanted to give us all he knew before going away, and to put it all into our heads at one stroke. Quite emotional. That is, little friends also understood M. Hamel's emotions at this point of time, as if the teacher wanted whatever knowledge the teacher had, M. Hamel had, he wanted to put it in his students. Quite emotional as a part of being a teacher myself. Okay, next. So little friends understood how much the teacher tried to put in everything that he had, the knowledge he has acquired over the years. He wanted it to transfer it to his students. Okay, after the grammar, so first they had the grammar lesson. Then after the grammar lesson, they had a lesson in writing that day. M. Hamel had new copies for us. So M. Hamel had brought new copies for his students, written in beautiful round hand, that is written beautifully in cursive writing. Friends, what was written there? That was France, Alsace, France, Alsace. They look like little flags floating everywhere in the schoolroom. So because he distributed the new copies with the initials written France, Alsace to the entire class, so it seemed like little flags floating in the entire classroom, in the schoolroom, hung from the rod at the top of our desk. You ought to have seen how everyone set to work. So everybody started writing that day. Nobody made an excuse. Nobody questioned. Nobody inquired what to do and what to not. But whatever M. Hamel dictated, they started doing so. Then yes, hung from the rod at the top of our desk. You ought to have seen how everyone set to work and how quiet it was. The only sound was the scratching of the pens over the paper. So there was pin drop silence. Only the scratching of pens over the paper could be heard. Once some beetles flew in, but nobody paid any attention to them. So the beetles flew in, but nobody paid any attention. They were busy writing. Not even the littlest one, who worked right on tracing their fish hooks, as if that was French too. So even the little ones, they were in the class and they were busy with their fish hooks. Even they made no noise in the classroom, and everything was quiet and silent, and they were enjoying writing. And if that was the French, on the roof the pigeons cooed very low, and I thought to myself, will they make them sing in German, even the pigeons? So because the class was silent, so on the roof there were pigeons, and they were cooing. So it seemed to the narrator, or to the two little friends, as if the pigeons would also be forced to speak in German and not in French. Means everything, because he was a little boy, so to his fancies, he thought if the orders have come from Berlin, then everything would be changed into German and nothing would be remaining as French. So he thought of the pigeons, even the pigeons will coo in German from tomorrow. Whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw M. Hamel sitting motionless in his chair and gazing first at one thing, then at another, as if he wanted to fix in his mind just how everything looked in that little schoolroom. So little Franz was noticing his teacher M. Hamel, how he was sitting quietly on his chair and trying to grasp everything that he could in his mind, as if he is never going to return back to this same classroom where he has served 40 years of his life. Fancy, for 40 years he had been there in the same place. with his garden outside the window and his class in front of him. So outside the window was the garden and his class in front of him, just like that. Only the desk and benches had been worn smooth. So only the desk. So what has undergone through these years? Only the benches have worn smooth. Means after the continuous use of the students, the benches have turned quite smooth. The walnut trees in the garden were taller, and the hope vine that he had planted himself twined about the windows to the roof. So walnut trees in the garden were taller. So when this Mr. Hamill has joined the school, the walnut trees were quite very small. Now the walnut trees have grown, and the hop vine that he had planted himself, and the hop vine, these are the grape vines which M. Hamill has planted himself. That is below the window he has planted, and they were twinning, means they were rising together about the window. They have reached till the rooftops. How it must have broken his heart to leave it all. So he was very, even little friends was touched by by the thought of that Mr. Hamill has to leave the school tomorrow itself, where he has given service for 40 years of his life. Poor man, to hear his sister moving about in the room above packing their trunks. So M. Hamill's sister was moving around in the classroom, moving up and down and trying to pack their trunks, for they must leave the country next day, because they were about to leave the country the very next day. But he had the courage to hear every lesson to the very last. He had the courage to hear the lesson to the very last. After the writing, we had a lesson in history. So first they had a lesson in grammar, secondly they had a lesson in writing, then thirdly they had a lesson in history. And then the babies chanted their ba, pi, po, that is AIU, that is the vowels. In French they were chanting the vowels. Down there at the back of the room, old Hauser had to put on his spectacles and, holding his primer in both hands, spell the letters with them. So even old Hauser wanted to be participative in the last French lesson. So he also joined with the small babies, and he also pronounced along with them the vowels, or the French vowels. Okay, you could see that he too was crying. Even old Hauser was crying. His voice trembled with emotion. Even he was very much emotional, and it was so funny to hear him that we all wanted to laugh and cry. So it was like mixed emotions. He even wanted friends and his classmates, they wanted to laugh at old Hauser's vowels, recitation of the vowels. At the same time, even they were emotional and they wanted to cry at the same time. So they had the mixed emotions. How well I remember it, that the last lesson. So this last lesson cannot be forgotten by friends. All at once, the church clock struck 12. All of a sudden, he could hear the church clock striking 12. Then the Angelus. Then the Angelus means the Angelus, that is the church bells, and the choir started singing. At the same moment, the trumpets of the Prussians returning from drill. At the same time, the Prussian soldiers, they are returning from the drill, sounded under our windows. They could be heard below their windows or outside their window. M. Hamill stood up, very pale in his chair, and I never saw him look so tall. So that is M. Hamill stood from his chair, and he looked very pale, and because he stood very straight and he was looking quite tall. My friends has never noticed him in this way. My friend said but something choked him. He could not go on. Like at this moment, M. Hamill was quite emotional and he couldn't utter words. He just murmured, I. We can also connect with him, M. Hamill's emotions at this point of time, where he has served 40 years of his service at the same room teaching students, and presently he has to leave the same place. So he's trying to grasp everything inside him, in his mind. Then he turned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and bearing on with all his might, he wrote as large as he could. So the last words that he would be writing, he took a piece of chalk and wanted to write, and he has written quite as large as he could write. What he has written: "Vive la France, vive la France." It means "Long live France." On the blackboard, that was his last words. Then he stopped and leaned his head against the wall, and without a word, he made a gesture to us with his hand. "School is dismissed. You may go." These were his last words, and he finally completed or dismissed the class by saying, "School is dismissed and you may go." These were his last words. Thank you, friends. I hope you have learnt along with me this lesson. I gave a reading as well as in between I tried to give you the explanation so that it will it will do your job. The lesson will be brushed up. Best of luck for your pre-boards as well as for your forthcoming board exams. Work hard and you can do it. And yes, if you have not subscribed to my channel up till now, please do subscribe to my channel and also like and share with your friends, and do let me know in the comment section as to what kind of videos you would like me to upload it for you. See you soon in the next video. Till then, क्योंकि पढ़ेगा इंडिया तभी तो बढ़ेगा इंडिया. See you friends. Bye bye.